Hello everyone, welcome to this session. Let's discuss about the ICT hazards. So here we'll be talking about the various information and communication hazards. Uh, we'll start discussing the effect of disposing the electronic equipment to the environment. The electronic equipments that are disposed are examples of the waste materials that can be obtained from the various information and the communication technology facilities. So the effect of disposing these electronic equipment to the environment uh, they include as follows. We'll start discussing the effect of the disposing the equipments in air. We'll later on move on to the other effects in our next videos. So let's see the effect of disposing the electronic equipments to the air of our environments. Now, how does e-waste contaminate air? Simply, the air can be contaminated by these e-waste primarily when the e-waste is transported to countries where the recycling processes are poorly regulated, as is typically in informal economies. So that's the first way whereby the e-waste is transported to these countries where the recycling processes is just poorly managed or regulated, can leave these e-waste just in uh, not in proper disposal or proper recycling that leads that these e-waste could just be exposed to the atmosphere or to our air. Also, in this, when you're talking about the informal economies, also the e-waste is often dismantled and shredded, releasing dust or just large particulates into the immediate environment, whereby the respiratory health of the workers without the proper respiratory protection is hurt, often seriously and chronic. So the informal economies whereby we're talking about the e-waste is often dismantled or shredded, uh, yes, not properly, yes, in such a way that it releases the dust or just the large particulates that can have the immediate impact to the respiratory health of the workers, who they just maybe they are not in proper respiratory protections. The use of the little value is often burnt, uh, or low value US tends to contain a large grade of plastic. Now, unregulated or underregulated burning is often carried out at lower temperatures and releases the toxins such as dioxins, which are potent and damaging to human and the animal health in a myriad of ways. Now, burning also releases fine particles which can travel hundreds or if not thousands of miles and bring about the negative consequences to respiratory health and bypasses the body's defense mechanisms, increasing the risk for wide range of the chronic diseases and cancers. So the first impact of these e-waste when disposed uh, poorly, like burning, it releases some kind of respiratory health problems due to that these kinds of burnt particles, they bypasses the body's defense mechanism, increasing just the risk of various uh, chronic diseases and cancers like lung cancer that can be resulted due to this. Finally, higher value materials such as maybe gold and silver are often extracted from highly integrated electronic and the US using the acids, desodoring, and other chemicals and techniques, which is simply they release additional damaging fumes into the local communities when recycling is not properly regulated. So that's the other way. The impacts of the informal recycling of the waste on air are worse for the workers who handle this waste, but can extend it tens, hundreds, and thousands of miles away from the recycling sites. How are these ecosystems impacted? The ecosystems are impacted in a way that maybe some animal species are more profoundly impacted by air pollution than others, which in addition to endangering these kinds of species. That's why nowadays there are some kinds of species that are just are endangered to extinct because of such kinds of pollutions that can be resulted. Mainly example is e-waste. Also endangers the biodiversity of the regions that are chronically or heavily polluted. Over the long term, air pollution can hurt water quality, also soil chemistry and plant species, creating damaging and irreversible changes in the ecosystem. So the US have some kinds of very large uh, impacts or pollutions that can be resulting to irreversible changes to the ecosystems. For example, the lead levels in air nearly informally recycling hubs like Guyu in China can be up to 3 times those found in industrial European sites. Also, the lead can be inhaled while still in the air and ingested when it returns to water and soil. So all these have larger impact in the ecosystem when we're talking about the US and also when we're talking about US as large impact in the ecosystem. Once ingested, here we're talking about this lead that is one of the US or inhaled, it can bioaccumulate up the food chain, causing disproportionate neurological damage to large animals and wildlife, including human beings. Now, how can human beings be impacted? Human beings, they can inhale these fine or small particles generated from the informal recycling particles or and the toxic chemicals from these same practices. Now, fine particles are of particular concern because first, they can travel long distances through air from their point of origin, thus impacting the communities far away from the pollution where it was generated, and they can bypass the body's respiratory defense mechanisms and cause a wide range of health problems, chronic, acute, and otherwise. A short-term exposure to these fine particles is often linked with eye irritation, asthma attacks, and acute bronchitis, while long-term exposure can result in reduced lung function, chronic bronchitis, lung cancer, and a wide range of these systematic problems that extend well beyond proximity respiratory health. Uh, compromise their respiratory health. These risks are especially heightened for older adults who already have heart or lung issues such as asthma or coronary heart diseases. Being exposed to particle pollution can aggravate this disease and even lead to death to these adults. But for children, inhaling the particles can only result in immediate respiratory difficulty, but also increase the risk of debilitating their respiratory uh, to have debilitating respiratory disease later on in life. So that's all I have for this video. We've seen the effect of the US in terms of how they impact the air or the atmosphere in our environment. We've seen that it leads to various health problems and it also can have various extensive or intensively impact in the ecosystem. I hope that's all clear and thank you.